Venn diagrams and prime factors. In today's lesson, we will be looking at linking Venn diagrams and prime factors together. So let's have a look. Often we use Venn diagrams to work out the highest common factor and lowest common multiple of a number. And it's particularly useful when we have the prime factors to do this. So let's have a look. So highest common factor and lowest common multiple of, we're just going to say 80 and 64. So we need to work out the prime factors of this number. 80, and 64. So we have got the number 80. We need two numbers that times together to make 80. I'm just going to say 8 and 10. Well, none of these are prime, are they? So you need to split them both up. Two numbers that times together to make 8 is 4 and 2. Well, 2 is prime, so I circle it, and I don't need to split that up. 4 is not, so I need to split the number 4 up into 2 and 2. 10 is 5 times 2, and they're both prime, so I circle them. Let's have a look at the number 64. Again, I need to split 64 up into its prime, two numbers at times together to make 64. I'm going to say 8 and 8. 8 times 8 is 64. None of them are prime, so I need to split them up, and because they're both the same, we can do it in one go. 8 is 4 and 2, and 4 and 2. Well, 2 is prime, so I'm going to circle it and stop there. 4 is not, so I'm going to split it up. 2 times 2, 2 times 2. And I'm going to circle. There we are. Okay, well, now what we need to do is we need to write down the prime factors. So 80 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. And 64 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure we've got the right number. Okay. You then draw yourself a Venn diagram. So we need two circles because we've got two numbers. That's my first circle and that's my second circle. This circle here is for the number 80. This circle here is for the number 64. Okay, now we just need to put numbers in this Venn diagram. So this middle section here is for any pairs of numbers that they both have. So they've both got number 2. I'm only going to write one number 2 in the middle because that's saying the number 80 has a 2 and the number 64 has a 2 in common. They also have another 2, so let's put another 2 in the middle. Remember, only one 2, you don't put 2 in. Another 2 in common. Oh, and another 2 in common. And then you put the leftover numbers. Well, 80's got 5 left over and 64's got 2 left over and 2 left over. To work out the highest common factor, we would multiply middle numbers. In this situation, it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. Lowest common multiple is you times all the numbers. So I'm just going to do 5 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 20 times 2 is 40, 42 times is 80, 80 times 2 is 160, 160 times 2 is 320. And that is an example of how we can use Venn diagrams to work out the highest common factor and lowest common multiple of a number with using prime factors. Let's have a look at another example then, shall we? Let's have a look. Highest common factor and lowest common multiple of, let's make the numbers slightly different this time. We'll do 125 and 250. So let's draw the prime factor tree for 125. Two numbers at times split 125. Well, it's not even, so we can't half. But I know it ends in 5, so it has to be in the 5 times table. 125 divided by 5 is 25. Well, 5 is prime, circle it. 25 is not, so I need to do 5 times 5. 250 this time. I'm going to do 25 and 10. Nice and simple and straightforward. 25 not prime, 5 and 2, and they're both prime. And 10 is 5 and 2, which are both prime as well, so I can circle them. I can do 125 is equal to 5 times 5 times 5. 250 as 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Okay, so in order now to do a Venn, I need to draw two numbers, or two circles should I say, with two numbers at the bottom, with 125 and 250 in there. Okay, so what do they have in common? Well, 125 doesn't have a number 2, so unfortunately I can't put a number 2 in the middle, but they both do have a 5, so I could put a 5 in the middle. Oh, they have another 5 as well, so I could put another 5 in the middle. However, they do not have anything else in common, so I could put a 5 left over for 125 and two number 2s left over. Highest common factor, if you remember, is times middle. 5 times 5, which is 25. And lowest common multiple is times all. So it's 5 times 5 times 5 times 2 times 2. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. 125 times 2 is 250. 250 times 2 is 500. So highest common factor is 25 and lowest common multiple is 500. Well, you might be thinking, well, what is highest common factor? That means the highest number that goes into 125 and 250 is 25. And the lowest number that's in the 125 times table and the 250 times table is 500. Let's have a look at another example, and then we do an example where we've got three numbers. Highest common factor and lowest common multiple of, let's change the numbers this time, 27 and 60. So 27 split up into 9 and 3. 3 is prime, circle it. 9 is 3 and 3. So we circle it because they're both prime. We cannot split them up any further. 60 on the other hand, 6 and 10. And 3 and 2. Okay. 27 is 3 times 3 times 3. And 60 is 2 times 3 times 10. Two circles, one for 27, one for 60. What do they have in common? They just have a number 3 in common. And then 27's got two 3's left over, and that's got a 2 and a 10 left over. So highest common factor is times middle. Right, well, we don't have another number to times the number 3 by. So in this situation, some students get quite confused and think, well, I don't actually know what to do because there's no other number to times by. And often people end up writing the number 0, which is incorrect. Just because you don't have another number to multiply it with doesn't mean you can't do anything with it. It just means that the middle number or the highest common factor is 3. So that means the highest number that goes into 27 and 60 is just 3 on its own. The lowest common multiple is times all. So I'm going to do 3 times 3 times 3 times 2 times 10. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 2 is 54. And 54 times 10 is 540. So that means the lowest number in the 27 times table and the 60 times table is 540. Well, this method, as you can see, is quite simple and straightforward because otherwise you would be there forever writing out the numbers in the 27 times table and the 60 times table until you got to 540. And it's pretty quick this way. Also with 27 and 60, because they're quite big numbers, you might miss a factor out and therefore you might not get the highest common factor. So this method is particularly better and important when you look at your GCSEs, when you have to work out the highest common factor and lowest common multiple, because you are pretty much guaranteed the correct answer. Let's do an example. What if you had 3 numbers? which sometimes you do in your GCSE exams. It might give you a worded question where you have 3 things and you have to work out either the highest common factor, lowest common multiple from it. So let's have a look. Let's do 24, 52 and 63, should we say. So let's draw our prime factor trees. 24, 2 numbers of times to make 24, 2 and 12. Circle 2. 12 is 6 and 2. 2 is prime, circle it. 6 is not, so it's 3 and 2. Both prime, circle. 52, so it's even. So 52 divided by 2 is 26. Just 2 is prime. 26 is 2 times 13, both prime. 63, I'm going to say 3 times 31. Yeah, 21 actually. 21, good job, I spotted that mistake now. 3 is prime, 21's not, is 7 and 3, and they are both prime. Right, so let's have a look. 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 52 is 2 times 2 times 13. 63 is 3 times 3 times 7. Right, we're going to have another example with some that have more in common. Because it's 3 circles, often pupils will do 1, 2, 3. Incorrect. Okay, if you have 3, it is always 1, 2, and then 1 at the bottom. That is for 24, that's for 52, that's for 63. Well, in here is all the numbers that are in common to both, or sorry, all 3. Well, do they have anything that's in common to all 3? They don't, do they? So that doesn't have a number 2, that doesn't have a number 3, nothing. So nothing goes in the middle. However, in this box here, it's the numbers that are the same in 24 and 63. So that's a number 3. So I'm going to put a number 3 here. Anything else that's the same in them? Nope. In this one, it's the numbers that are the same in 52 and 63. 52 and 63 don't have anything in common, so nothing in there. And this one is the numbers in 24 and 52. Oh, we've got 2 in common. Oh, another 2 in common. And that's about it. So you do the things that are in common to the numbers first, okay? Starting from the middle, then going outwards when you have three things in your Venn diagram or 3 circles, okay? So the numbers left over at 24 now is 2, 52 has 13, and 63 has 7. Highest common factor, you times middle. Right. Don't get confused. It's not the middle like this middle, this middle, this middle, this middle. It's just this one here. But we don't have any numbers that are the same. So no, none or no highest common factor. That means there's no number that's in the 24 times table and 52 times table and 63 times table that's the same that goes into those numbers. Okay, so lowest common multiple now times all. Okay, so we need to do 7 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 30. Well, 7 times 3 is 21. 21 times 2 is 42. 42 times 2 is 84. Then we need to do 84 times 13, which is 1092. That means the lowest number that's in the 24 times table, 52 times table, and 63 times table is 1092. It's better now than doing this, isn't it? Where we had the 24 times table, you would have the 52 times table and the 63 times table. Okay, so you would do 24 and then you would do 48 and the next number is 72. The next number is 96. Oh, the next number is 120. The next number is 144. Next number is 168. Next number is 192. Oh, let's do 52 now. So, oops, let's start with 52 first. Yeah, like we did with the other one. 52. 104, 156, 208, 260, 312, 364, let's do 63 now, should be 63, 126, 189, 252, 315, 378, and 441, and I'm already getting tired. And that means that we would have had to carry on all the way till we've got to 1092, because that is the lowest number that's the same in all 3 times tables. So that is why we use the Venn diagram method. Let's have a look at one more example with 3 numbers in. Okay, let's have a look at highest common factor and lowest common multiple of, let's do 64, 36, and 120. Yeah. So prime factor tree for these numbers. Okay, 64, I'm going to do 8 times 8. None is prime, so 4 and 2, 4 and 2. 2 is prime, circle it and stop. For 4, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. And 2 is prime, so circle it and stop. 6, 6 and 6, 3 and 2, 3 and 2, and all prime. That's 12 and 10, 6 and 2, 2 is prime, 3 and 2, both prime. 10, 5 times 2, and both prime. So let's write these numbers down now, making sure that we've got all the ones that we want. 64, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 36, 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And 120 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Okay, let's double check that we've got all the numbers. Okay, yes, we have. So 3 circles, 1, 2, 3. So I've got 64 there, doesn't matter which order, 36 and 120. So here is all the numbers that are the same in all of them. Well, I can see that they've got number 2. Anything else? Oh, another 2. Anything else? No, these two have a 3, but that doesn't have a 3. So 64 and 120. So you need to have a look at the number 64 and 120. Oh, they've got nothing in common, so nothing goes in there. But 36 and 120, I think, does. They've got a 3 in common and nothing else. So 36 has a 3 left over, and 64 has 2, 2, 2, 2, and 120 has a 5 left over. Okay, so highest common factor times middle. This time we do have a middle. 2 times 2, which is 4. Lowest common multiple is, well, times them all together. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 up times 3 times 5. Okay, let's have a look then. Times them all together. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 again is 32. So 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16, 32, times 2 is 64, times 3 is 192, times 3 again, 576, and then times by 5 is 2880. So that means that the lowest number in the 64, 36, and 120 times table is 2,880. And obviously that is better again than writing all the times tables out until we got to the number 2,880. And this is how we use prime factors in Venn diagrams to work out the highest common factor and lowest common multiple. So that's the link between working out the prime factors, we put them in the Venn diagram, and we can work out the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple of numbers using this method. And it's quicker, and obviously it guarantees that you don't miss any factors out, and obviously it eliminates that time where you have to write down so many numbers in the times table until you get to a bigger number. But that was all for today's lesson. Thank you for watching.